which is the moon. I am your Friday hostess, Natalie, and this week's topic is healing magic. So as you can see, I'm not in my typical environment today. I wish I was in my office, which was my original intent, but I had to come home immediately after work and was not able to do so. So just bear with the background, and we'll move right along. So what I want to discuss this afternoon is 3 different types of healing magic, or magical healing. The first type I'm going to talk about is Pranic Healing, then I'm going to talk about Reiki, and then I'm going to talk about Herbal Healing and Herbal Magic. So first of all, Pranic Healing, what is that? Pranic Healing is an exchange of energy from one person to another for the purpose of healing or balancing that person's spiritual and physical self. Now, I learned about Pranic Healing from Dr. Buckland in his book, Big Blue. He does talk about Pranic Healing. He tells you how to do it. He explains how it works, and he talks about the process for doing so. And I'm sorry, but this is fuzzy, so, okay. So I learned from his book, Big Blue, which I don't have my book with me, which is another reason why I wish I was in my office. But basically, it's Buckland's complete book of witchcraft, and I believe it's in the first or second chapter that he talks about that. When you are doing pranic healing, your hands are not physically touching the person. You either have them sit or they lay down, and you have your hands over them, and you are visualizing and causing an exchange of energy from yourself to this person for the purpose of healing some sort of a wound or some sort of a problem with the physical body. Now, that varies a little bit from like Reiki healing, because I get this question a lot from people that want to know what is the difference between pranic or energy healing and Reiki. So I'm going to explain that right now. Reiki, I am a 3rd degree level master Reiki, Reiki master. In Usui Reiki, I'm also a certified Yin Yang Light Reiki in that area as well, and I'm currently working on some other certifications. The big key difference between Pranic Healing and Reiki is this. When you're using Pranic Healing, you're using your own personal energy, and you're transferring your energy to the other person, or you're sending your energy to the other person in some way to heal them. With Reiki, the term Reiki means God's energy or God's light. So you are taking from the divine, and you're using yourself as a channel to channel divine energy into somebody or into someone's life in some way to cause a healthy change. So once again, your hands are not physically on the person. You're not laying on of hands. For those of you who come from a Christian background, your hands are hovering over the person or over the area where they need the work or whatever, and you are sending that forward. Now, another key difference between Reiki energy healing and Pranic Healing is that Reiki is not confined to strictly this particular space and time. You can send Reiki energy back in time to heal someone who's been wronged or some sort of psychological or emotional damage that's been done in the past. You can send Reiki healing forward in the future. You can send Reiki healing by distance, which is not something you can do with Pranic Healing. Since Pranic Healing is something that is strictly person to person, you're sending your energy. But because you are using divine energy for Reiki, you are channeling that, and you're simply acting as a conductor for that, then you can do that from a distance. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the ethics of energy healing, because this is a hot topic that comes up quite a bit, and I hear a lot of different discussions and different opinions on whether or not you should send healing to somebody who doesn't know you're doing it or doesn't want it. You really shouldn't. You shouldn't do anything somebody doesn't want you to do, and that goes, you know, along the lines of being respectful of people's free will. However, I don't always listen to that, and let me give you an example. 2 years ago, my husband was putting up Christmas lights for me because I'm a big Christmas person. Everybody that knows me knows I'm a huge Yule fan. I love holidays. For me, the holidays begin October 1st and run straight through January 7th. But Christmas in particular, and that's because when I was a child, it was the one time of the year where my family could get together and actually get along and act like a family. Like they really gave a shit about everybody else in the family. And so it's always been a very important time for me. I like the lights, the music, so anyway. Going forward, my husband was putting up the lights for me, and he fell off the ladder and landed on the concrete in our backyard and hurt himself very badly. I'm pretty certain he tore something in his shoulder, but he would not go to the doctor. My husband never goes to the doctor. I don't think he'd go to the doctor if he was on death's door, but he was not able to utilize that shoulder. He was in an extreme amount of pain. He couldn't lift his arm, he couldn't move his arm, he couldn't lay on that side. And this went on for probably close to a year or so, and that's when I started studying the Usui Reiki and taking on that skill within myself and calling upon those energies. And so when I received my first attunement for the first level, I started working on him while he was sleeping, because he would fall asleep in the bed and I would still be awake, or he would be turned over, and so I would have access to be able to get to that shoulder. And I started doing Reiki healing on that shoulder, and he has since stopped complaining. So I know that it has healed somewhat because he can move his arm now, he can lift things. He's talked about putting up the Christmas lights again this year, although I don't know if that's actually going to happen, because he said he was going to put up the Halloween lights, and that didn't happen. But in any case, I did do that, even though he thinks that Reiki healing is bullshit, and he thinks light healing is bullshit, and he thinks witchcraft is bullshit, and he doesn't like any of it. I wanted to help him, and because I had to live with him, and he was miserable, and so therefore I was miserable, and the kids were miserable. So I started sending him that healing energy, and I think that it definitely did make a difference, because I saw it change. But what you do is between you and your deity, and the person with whom you're dealing. There are times where I think that it's okay to do that, obviously, but on the general whole, I would say do not. Now, the third type of healing that I want to talk about tonight is, or today, I guess. Oh, I'm filming this at 9 on Thursday, sorry. This is like my 4th attempt at filming this video, so I should probably add the rest of it, like at the end, as a kind of a blooper, because it started out great, and then my daughter walked in the door. But anyway, going back. Sorry, pigeons. I'm flying away today. The third type of healing I want to talk about is herbal healing. Now, this is a more direct physical healing using naturopathic or naturopathic methods, and this is something that is a high area of interest for me. It really was kind of the catalyst for my interest in witchcraft. Well, not really, I've always been interested in witchcraft, but I mean my being able to break off of a more traditional path and move more towards a path of witchcraft openly. And that's because I started really studying about natural healing and naturopathy and using essential oils, and that just kind of drew me back into where I was already going anyway. So one of the things I will say is that you do have to be cautious, because herbs have a different effect on different people. And I wouldn't recommend you just run out and start buying herbs and trying to do your own herbal healing without a great deal of research and time, and possibly even some certification behind you. Now that gets into the tricky area, because certification in herbalism, there are some agencies that are pretty credible that offer certification. There's a lot of people online that offer online certifications that are really not really what I would consider credible. There's not a degree plan that I know of. In fact, I think I found one degree plan that offers a bachelor's in herbalism, but I can't remember who it is. So you want to be very careful about that. Do your research. And here's the thing, is that different herbs affect different people of different heights, weights, ages, and so forth differently. So a lot of times you can find recommended dosages like on WebMD for a certain height and weight, but you want to be very careful about this kind of thing. And always start with caution. So I would say start small and start building up until you can kind of see how it's affecting you. Because another thing to keep in mind is that modern medicine has its basis in herbal medications. Aspirin is the biggest example that comes to my mind. People noted, or were taught by the Native Americans, that the bark of the willow tree would relieve pain, relieve headaches, that kind of thing. So they would strip the bark and they would chew on it. It tastes like duty. It tastes like aspirin. It's very bitter. However, that became the basis for modern day aspirin. So you got to understand that modern medicine has that basis in herbalism, and so a lot of modern medicines have some sort of herbal component to it, but they have started adding a lot of things like additives and preservatives and things like that to bulk it up to make money, because it's a profit driven industry. So when you start out with this, find yourself a good mentor or somebody who really knows what they're doing, or some really good resources, and start making notes for yourself. And I wouldn't start just giving this to your kids and all of that stuff. And I want to make another declaration right here. So just to relieve us of any liability, remember that none of us are medical doctors. what we recommend or what we're discussing in this week is not a substitute for modern medicine. If you are taking some sort of treatment from your doctor, you're on medications for depression or something like that, or any kind of medical condition, do not stop taking those medications in order to take up Reiki or something like that. Light healing, energy healing in particular, is meant to be used in conjunction with any other type of medicine. Now, a lot of people like naturopathy and they go to that. And if you do, you can find a good naturopath. I know there's one here in Dallas, Fort Worth area, and he has offices, I think, in New York and a couple of other places as well. But Anthony Wallace is his name, and he is a very well qualified naturopath. You can go to a DO, a doctor of osteopathy, if you don't like, lots of medications. Doctors of osteopathy are actual physicians who've been formally trained and have a degree, like a medical doctor, but their philosophy is different. They believe in allowing the body to heal itself more. And the treatments that we are talking about here are things, tools that we can use to enhance and aid and further those qualified professionals, okay? So that's my spiel on that. Now, that being said, I think they can be very effective, and I think they can be a very large aid, and especially herbalism, because herbal remedies are quite natural, but not everything that's natural is beneficial, so just keep that in mind. If you doubt me, just drink some aconite tea. I don't think you'll have to worry about anything after that. It's, by the way, that's the most poisonous plant on the planet. It's also known as monkshood, blue rocket, wolfsbane. Yeah, so don't go drink a tea of that stuff, okay? You don't want to do that. And anytime you're dealing with any kind of a poisonous herb or plant, extreme caution. Okay, I do know that there are people who use belladonna tablets for relaxation, or they drink belladonna in tea for relaxation. I would say, once again, consult with a physician before you do that, or somebody who is skilled in using those kinds of natural methods, because how it affects you is going to depend a lot on your current health status, any other medications that you're taking, because since modern medication does have a basis in herbs and in natural remedies, you've got to remember that there could be interactions between things. So you need to be aware of what medications you're taking and what side effects or interactions there could be between some of the herbs that you're using with some of the medications that you're taking. You need to be aware of your own physical condition. You need to be aware of your height, your weight, and all of those things that go into just modern medicine. As a matter of fact, they all apply to herbal medications as well. So just keep that in mind. That's why it's not recommended that you go out and take a whole bunch of herbal supplements. I know people that take 50 herbal supplements a day, and I still kind of question whether that's necessarily a good thing. So be open with your doctor or your physician about your interest, and some of them kind of poo-poo it, but a lot of them are probably going to be willing to say, okay, then if you want to try that, let's give it a try. Let's see. Here's what I would recommend, and see what they can recommend. But once again, there are a lot of different herbs that go for a lot of different things. I use willow bark and chamomile and peppermint and feverfew in a tea, and I'll take about a half a teaspoon of each and mix it, and I drink it as a tea for my headaches because I have really bad migraines, and it has helped me considerably. I use Lady Grave Dancer's cough syrup. She calls it cough syrup. It's not really cough syrup, but it's I take local, unprocessed, unfiltered honey. You can buy it from a store just north of here, because there's an apiary just a little bit north of here, and you mix it with echinacea, and it has done wonders for my allergies. I've almost completely quit taking over-the-counter decongestants and things like that. I use essential oils in making balms and body butters and salves. I make my own vapor rub, and I have a mixture for that I use, so I make my own vapor rub. I also sell it on my shop. I sell a lot of my body butters and skin salves on my shop. I have made salves for kids that suffer from, oh gosh, my daughter has it, eczema. I've had several kids that had issues with eczema that I've made, little things of salve for their parents, because my daughter had eczema very badly as a child, and it has helped them. But once again, you want to be very cautious. Topical stuff isn't nearly as dangerous as internal stuff. So like teas, smoking anything. I know people that smoke stuff, but I'm going to recommend against that, because smoking anything is bad for you. You're not supposed to intake smoke into your lungs, because there's always the side effect of tar regardless of what you're smoking. But I do know that that is some method, that some people use that as a method of intake for some of the stuff. Like I've heard of people using a mugwort, marshmallow root, and St. John's wort in like a cigarette to help their mood. So there are definitely things that you can do, that you can use these natural herbs and things for, but I would caution you in how you intake it, and making sure that you do some research and that you know yourself and or whoever you're going to be doing it for very, very well. Have them talk with a doctor, have them consult, make sure that there's not going to be any kind of medications or interactions, because you just never know, and you don't know what you're allergic to either. So be very cautious with that. And that's one of the big things about using herbal remedies like salves and poultices and things like that, is that, you know, they may have an allergic reaction to something that could make a condition worse. So just be cautious with that. Test a small area, see how it works, and go from there. I don't sell anything that I wouldn't give to somebody else, that I wouldn't use myself. I mean, but you do want to be very, very cautious, because it is definitely has the potential, I think, for being harmful if you are not careful in what you are doing. So those are 3 of the ways that we can, as witches, provide some form of healing to people, or ways in which we can infuse our magic. You can use herbs in other types of healing magic as well, and that's the last one. So I don't think I mentioned the last one that I wanted to get to. But the last type of healing is just healing magic itself, such as doing a spell to create a healing in someone. And that is often used in conjunction with like Reiki or Pranic Healing. You know, you could be doing some sort of a working to heal people. And once again, this is something that's not bound by space and time, so you can do a spell to create healing for somebody. And I think I talked about, when we did the week in poppets, I talked about healing magic and using poppets for healing magic. That's one of the ways. Like I had that friend that had the hurt shoulder. Actually, it was my cousin. She had her hurt shoulder, and so I created a poppet and did a healing spell to help with that. And as far as I know, I think it's better, but I haven't asked about it recently. It hasn't been a complaint, so I don't know. But you can use poppets for healing magic and any kind of a spell work. So spells can be used for healing magic. When I work with a healing spell, or when I am constructing a healing spell, I will use herbs that are pertinent to the particular locale, location, or way in which the person was hurt. So for example, if it's healing magic for somebody who's emotionally hurt, maybe they're coming out of a bad breakup, or they're just not feeling like they're finding somebody or something like that, I will use things like yellow rose leaves, red rose leaves, jasmine, things that are love, you know, make you think of love and passion and that kind of thing, or friendship. You know, like yellow roses are good for friendship, and I always use yellow roses as well as red roses in my love magic, but that's a different topic. So healing magic, I'll use something like, if they're having a problem with anxiety, then I may use St. John's wort, and, you know, I may do a spell bag, and that may be one of the herbs that I use. Chamomile for calming, willow bark to ease pain. So if the person's experiencing physical pain or even emotional pain, I may use willow bark in like a gree bag, or some sort of a spell pouch, or a blessing bag, or medicine bag, to kind of help them to ease that. Or I may make a wash or a bath or something that I may put it into the poppet itself to try to heal whatever is bothering that person specifically. So I will choose herbs that are specific to the type of healing this person is needing in terms of their physical health or their mental health, emotional health, love, whatever it is. And I will also use a road opener oil to open the road to healing, because sometimes some of that healing has to come from within, and when people are not willing to, they don't want to be healed. You know what I'm saying? They do, but they don't. So conditions like that, I will use a road opener oil to open it up to allowing them to allow in these healing energies to help them. And so that is another way in which we can do healing magic. So I realize that this video has been a little rambly. Like I said, this was my literally 4th time trying to record this. I do hope that I've given you some useful information. I would love to see your feedback. If you have a different type of healing magic that you do, or you want to build on something that we've talked about in this video, I would love to see your comments and your feedback. You can comment here on the video, which is fantastic because I get notifications that. You can also comment, if you'd like, on our Witches of the Moon page on Facebook. So please do participate. Remember that those who participate and comment on the videos are the ones who get entered for the giveaway, because we like to reward those that are interacting with us. So thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed week, and it will be after Thanksgiving when I see you guys again. So I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving if you're here in the United States. If you're not, have a great weekend anyway, and I will see you guys next week. Blessed be.